Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Caroline. Hello, podcast peoples. Welcome back to, is it still called a channel when it's your podcast?
No, it's called a podcast.
Welcome back to whatever this is.
Podcast episode 9, I think.
Is it 9?
It is.
I believe you. I've lost track.
Yeah.
This is if we were talking in friends lingo, this would be the one that nearly didn't happen.
Yeah, and it's my fault. I hold my hands up. Well, it nearly didn't happen for 2 reasons, didn't it? Because you were meant to be coming to stay, so it would have been an actual podcast with both of us in the same place. Although,
yeah,
for listeners, I suppose it doesn't make any odds where we are.
Yeah.
And that changed, and then we were meant to record it today at 2:00, and I completely forgot. You had to go. Are you all right?
Well, I said to Natalie, should I message? And she was like, well, yeah, I suppose so. So I sent Caroline a message saying, did I get the time wrong? Because recently I've got everything wrong. My memory is not a thing anymore. I don't have one. And so my default setting is I've probably got that wrong. But for once, it wasn't me.
But I'll tell you why it was. It was because when we agreed the time, we were video chatting yesterday and I was lying on the sofa and I didn't have a pen to hand. And so I didn't write it down. And obviously, by the time I got off the sofa half an hour later, that half an hour had passed. So obviously, I still didn't remember it.
It ceased to exist, yeah. Short-term memory, not a thing in women of a certain age, for sure.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, we made it. Here we are.
Here we are.
I've got very flappy hands today. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're very, very talky with your handy today.
Yeah.
So how are you?
I'm good today. I've had a very low energy few days and I'm feeling sprightly today.
Sprightly?
Yeah, sprightly.
Old
person word.
Old person speak. That we were saying that, weren't we? That young people never say they feel sprightly because young people default sprightly.
Yeah.
Older people notice when they're feeling sprightly because it's not normal anymore.
It's true. When you wake up feeling good and wanting to embrace the day, that's something to be celebrated when you get to our age, isn't it?
Yeah. So have you been doing all of the things then? Having woken up feeling sprightly, have you been doing all of the things?
Yeah, I've had quite a productive day, really. Been filming videos and doing eBay stuff and all sorts. What about you?
I've done okay. I got up this morning and filmed my calorie crush, which I think has just gone live now. And then I did all my photographs for all the listings I did yesterday. And then I cursed and swore a bit while I was putting things away. So, and then Natalie and I went to the cinema. We've been to the cinema today to see Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's a very, very nostalgic because obviously it's one of the books that I loved as a teenager. And Natalie read the book. She'd read it before, but she read it again last night. She bought it on her Kindle. She said it took me 40 minutes to read it, Mum. It took me a week when I was a kid.
I read it as a teenager as well and loved it. So yeah, I really want to see. How have you been to the cinema already? It's only 3:00 in the afternoon.
Because it was showing at 11:05, and Natalie said, this is the only showing I can go to all week. This is the only time I've got. Come on, we're going now. So I was like, oh okay. And
to have a social life like Natalie's.
We were the only people in the cinema.
Weird.
We had the entire screen to ourselves. It's quite weird, actually. I said to Natalie, I don't mind going to the cinema on my own, but if I had gone on my own, I wouldn't have wanted the screen to myself. It's a bit kind of like,
yeah, bit spooky.
Yeah.
Just talk about adverts in the cinema. I used to go to the cinema a lot before COVID, and since COVID I haven't gone so much, not for any particular reason. I just got out of the habit during COVID and I don't go as much anymore. I've been twice since Christmas. Saw the Whitney Houston film and what was the other film that you saw recently and I went to see, and I said, God, that was the most depressing film I've ever seen.
Chap walking from south to north.
Yes.
Unlikely Pilgrimage of Howard Fry.
That's the one, yes. Don't go and see that if you want uplifting, listeners. Definitely don't go
Yeah,
and see that.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, how many bloody adverts are there in the cinema? I've got that. I can't even speak.
You're breaking up. You're so incensed that you're breaking up.
I'm sorry. I got there about as it was due to start, whatever time it said the film. So I'd say it was 4:20. I got there at just before 4:20. I was one of the last people into the cinema. I was sort of half full. And the adverts were on. And they went on, I'm not joking, for half an hour.
Yeah, yeah, never get there on time and never do that. The one we went to today was due to start at 11:05. I think it was 11:20 when we got in, and I think we still had a good 10 minutes before the actual film rolled.
It's
Yeah, never go
unbelievable,
on
isn't
time.
it? I mean, I quite enjoy the trailers. I enjoy watching the trailers for what's coming up. I think that's great. But the actual advertising, my goodness, people moan about 4 seconds of YouTube advertising.
Mm.
It's
My frustration with the trailers recently seems to be that they take a not very good film, snip out all of the little good bits that they have managed to make in the film, make it into the trailer, and so you go along to the film with this false idea that it's going to be a really good film. Then it's rubbish because you've seen all the good bits already in the trailer. The rest of it's just dross.
yeah, hard agree with
Having
that.
said that, having said that, I wouldn't be able to compete. So it's easy to criticize when you don't have to make films yourself, isn't it?
And of course, that is the point of the trailer, isn't it? By the time they've lured you to the cinema and had your money, sorry, my phone's about to ring.
It's the hook, isn't it? Yeah, the hook that gets you in.
Hello? Can I be quick?
Yeah. Are you going out this afternoon in your car?
No.
Good. So if I bring my car up and put it on charge.
Yeah. You can borrow mine. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Sorry about that.
Ash's got an electric car now?
No, he's got a car that he keeps leaving the door open and the battery goes flat.
Oh, I see. I thought he bought an electric car. Everybody seems to have an electric car, don't they? I haven't got one.
No, you don't want an electric car. It runs out of charge. Very inconvenient, all that charging up. It's all right if you're only going round the corner, but if you need to drive from one end of the country to the other. Anyway, we probably shouldn't get into controversial things like electric cars.
Are they controversial?
Don't know. I feel like they are a bit.
I feel like I might have to have an automatic soon if my legs carry on getting worse. I feel like
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. When I first got my previous car to this one, it was automatic, and I didn't want an automatic one particularly, just they only came in automatic. And I wasn't keen on it. Now I wouldn't go back to it. When I drive Ashley's car and I have to change gear, it's so inconvenient.
That's a first world problem if ever I've heard one.
Isn't it?
Inconvenient having to change gear in my own car.
God, the clutch and the gear stick and oh, dearie me.
You forget to change gear because you're not in automatic and start wondering why the engine's making a weird noise.
Yeah, I have done that before. Yeah, got this.
Yeah, so I'm starting to think I might have to have an automatic because my clutch leg is
Is that your bad leg?
Yeah, well, they're both of them are bad, but they're both bad in different ways. But the pain in the accelerator and brake knee doesn't affect my use of the pedals, but the pain in the clutch leg, I notice it. It's all right if I'm on a short journey where I'm changing gear a lot, but I noticed it coming back from York where I hadn't used my clutch leg for 100 miles. Yeah. And then when I needed to change gear, I was like, my leg has seized up. So I need to be very aware of that. I need to I definitely need to keep moving it, even if I'm not clutching and declutching. I need to keep on that muscle out. So so that's a consideration.
Definitely. I think once you go to an automatic for any amount of time, you won't want to go back.
Yeah.
Especially for a lot of the driving you do is very much around town, like me, and stop, start.
Yeah, longer journeys are rarer for me. Yeah. But today's conversation wasn't going to be what kind of car should I get now I'm an old fogey, was it?
I asked you what you've been doing yet, apart from going to the cinema.
I haven't been doing anything.
For 2 weeks. Have you been to York?
Yeah, I've been to York. I've been to York and Market Harbour in between, but I've been back from there 5-6 days, so that seems like it's already.
Because we talked about you going to your nostalgic trip to Market Harbour. Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Did it tickle the boxes you wanted it to tick?
Yeah, it was. In fact, I've been back more than 5 or 6 days. God, doesn't time go fast?
Yeah, it's because we haven't done a podcast for 2 weeks, isn't it? It feels like about 2 months since I talked to you.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It was emotional in bits where I didn't expect it to be.
Oh.
But I did enjoy it. And like I said, I think I mentioned in one of the videos I made that I think perhaps the reason for the overload of emotion was the fact that I probably won't go again.
Yeah.
I probably won't go back now. So it was probably my farewell to my memories. So
yeah.
But yeah,
Did you go back to all the places you sort of remembered and stuff?
most of them, yeah. And yeah, it's weird standing outside my grand's house and going, well, that's not my grand's front door. They've had a new front door and they've had new windows and yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I drove past my mum's old house for I think only the first time since she moved out almost a year ago. That last week when I was up in Bournemouth for a couple of days, and yeah, weird feeling.
Yeah.
It felt quite nice that another family were living there and being happy, and it's quite strange that it's a family with young children, and not strange, but it's family with young children, and the mother-in-law lives on the side of the house in a flat, which is where my grandmother used to live with us as well. So there's sort of some similarities in the family structure, which is kind of nice.
But it made me realise that the inside of my granny's house, I mean, it's 20 years ago that she died.
Yeah.
And in my head, it looks exactly the same inside. I'm sure it didn't, because I'm sure they will have, for example, ripped out her 50-year-old kitchen and replaced that and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I suspect they may.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that weirdness of it probably looks completely different inside now. And I stood there thinking, this is going to sound weird, but I stood there thinking it probably smells different as well. Because, every house has its own combination of smells and odors and the things that you're used to, and you walk into your grand's house and it's almost as if they could bottle the smells of various houses and blindfold you, you'd be able to recognize whose house that smell was.
Yeah. Yes,
I stood there thinking, I bet it doesn't even smell the same anymore. And of course it doesn't. After 20 years, of course it doesn't smell the same. It's stupid.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
You see, I aspire to live in a house that smells like a Joe Malone candle. It mostly smells of soggy wet cat.
Yeah, ours mostly smells of dog. Mostly smells of dog.
That's nice though, isn't it? It's homely.
No, it's not. It's just dog.
No, okay, it's not. I'm trying to put a romantic spin on, not romantic.
There's no romantic spin on the smell of dog.
No, okay. Maybe not. Okay, we may now proceed to the...
I don't have a neat segue into the subject topic. I don't have anything. We were going to talk about friendships, weren't we? We're going to talk about friendship. What on earth are you pronging at me?
Oh, it's a tripod.
Sorry. For the benefit of the people who could not see what that was the 3 legs of Caroline's upside down tripod that suddenly appeared on the screen.
I'm fiddling with it. I'm a big fiddler. Always fiddling. I used to bite my nails now, so I've
cured yourself of that, and now you have to fiddle with things.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about friendships in later life, whether it's harder to make friends as you get older, whether you've clung on to any friends from when you were younger. No, she's now giving herself an antennae, everybody.
Right, I'm stopping. I'm putting it down. Yes, friendships. I do think friendships change as you get older. I think it's harder to make new friends if you wanted to make new friends. I think it is like for those of us who have children, I can only speak from the point of view of someone who has had children, as I have had a child. You make friends through your kids' activities, don't you? And through meeting people at the school gate and your kids' friends' parents and all that sort of thing. And as you get older, you don't have that immediate access to people with something in common to you. So you have to go and seek out people, which is kind of hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a proper kid, it's really easy, isn't it? It seems to be a case of, I mean, in this film I watched today, literally she knocks on the door and says, I live across the road, do you want to come and play? You can't.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, you can't get away with it quite so much at 50, can you?
No.
Being neighbourly, there's very friendly. There's, new people have moved into the street and you go and knock on the door and say, hello, just to let you know, we're your neighbours at number 72, and if you need anything, do give us a shout.
Yeah.
But it's not quite the same as, hi, would you like to be my friend?
Yeah.
And yeah, certainly, as you said, the opportunities for meeting new friends wither when your children grow up. Unless you are, I think perhaps if you're a committee-based person, if you're the kind of person who gets involved with local events and stuff, then perhaps that's how people make friends. But I think as we've got older and life is very busy, how
Yeah.
do you find time to get involved with organising things as well as existing?
I used to be on the village hall committee, but that was when I lived in a village when William was a baby,
Yeah.
and I was very early 30s, and everybody else on the village hall committee was about 173, with something of a different outlook on life than me. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been my top tip. But perhaps now I'm 173, they'd
Now
all be
perhaps
my
you
big
feel differently.
buddies. Yeah.
But
Sorry, go on.
I think one of the things is whether you managed to cling on to any of your friends from your earlier days as well. So have you got any friends that you've had for years and years and years and years that you would consider close?
Not close, no.
Because I know you mentioned your friend Faye.
Yeah, I met Faye when I lived in the same village. She lived in the same village as I did, and the village I was just talking about. So Faye and I have been close friends for 20 odd years, 20 plus years.
And is that
more
probably
than
one
that, 25, maybe 30. So yeah, long time, but only in adulthood, really. School friends, no, not really. I'm Facebook friends with a few people.
Same here.
School.
Yeah, I'm still got friendships on Facebook with the people I was at school with, but we don't see each other or spend time together.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of close friends I've had over the years have moved abroad, like to a different continent, America, Australia, and although we're still, again, Facebook, you can't really maintain what I would call a close friendship with someone who lives on the other side of the world, even with the wonders of the internet.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Tammy's my closest friend, and we've known each other now about 23 years. And there was a gap in the middle of that. It was about a 4 or 5 year gap in the middle where we became estranged through a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And then when we worked out what the misunderstanding had been, we were fine again after that. It was a case of each thought the other had done something that neither of us had done. But yeah, that's probably the longest continual friendship I've had. I'm very good friends with Tina across the road, and we've been neighbours for Anthony's 32, so we've been neighbours for about 30 years. But we're not pouring our heart out to each other friends. We're good friends, and we spend time together, and we go out and about, and we do things. We if there's a night out, then we're both on. But we're not close friends. We've just known
I know what you
for a
mean.
very long time. Yeah.
Obviously, you and I are big buddies.
Besties.
God, I hate that expression. I hate it. I'm sorry, I'm having several different thoughts that I want to verbalise, and once I have more than one, they all queue up in my head and get muddled, and I can't speak at all. Again, the joys of getting old. Is there such a thing? Like there's dating apps like Tinder and what am I trying to say?
I don't know. The only other one I think of is Grindr, and I think that's
no, not. I wanted to say Bimble, but it's Bumble.
Bumble. There's something called Bumble. I think that's a dating app, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, because my friend Darren's on that one.
And Plenty of Fish and things like that.
Oh yeah, Plenty of Fish. Yes. Is there one for friends? Is there a date? I mean, there must be an app for meeting friends. Is there?
I don't know. If there is, then I haven't heard of it. But maybe somebody will know and will let us know in the comments or whatever. But do you think you'd be brave enough to? Well, not brave enough. Do you think you'd be open to joining a making friends app? Do you feel that you have a vacancy in your life that a friend would fit into?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know if I've got enough time to do a new friendship justice. Does that make sense? So for example, the current friends I have, like Tammy, it's a very easy friendship. She says, we must get together soon. And I say, yes, okay. And she says, shall we do something next Tuesday? And I go, yes, that's fine. And then next Tuesday comes around, and most times we're able to stick to what we planned.
Yeah.
And my friend Tamsin, who I've recently reconnected with, we had again, we drifted. We didn't fall out, but we just drifted. She had young children at a time when I didn't, and that makes a difference, I think. And we've recently reconnected. And again, we do a fair few things together. But she also has a lot of other stuff in her life. And so there's no demand on my time. And I'm going to sound like there's no way of saying that I sound a dick, but I feel like I don't have time to make a new full-time friendship. Does that sound really weird?
Yeah, I sort of know what you mean. I suppose it depends what you're expecting it to be. Like, it doesn't have to be super regular and lots of contact and stuff. However, how do you get to know someone unless you spend a certain amount of time with them, type of thing? I've had several friends over the years who have not been good at getting in touch. They've always been very open to, if I phone them and go, should we go for a coffee? Oh yeah, lovely. Yeah, how about next Tuesday? Great. But they will never ever contact me. I've had 3 friends in sort of the last 15 years who have been like that, and I just gave up with them in the end. I
when you feel like you're doing all the running, and it kind of makes you wonder if you're do they actually not want to be my friend? Am I foisting myself on them?
Yes, exactly. You get that. I mean, there was never any, oh no, I'm busy that day, or no, I can't catch up, I'll get in touch. They were always very open to meeting up. Funny enough, I was having this discussion with my mum last week, and she's got a couple of friends exactly the same who are always keen to meet up when she suggests it. But I think as I've got older, I've got less tolerant of that. I think if you can't be bothered to make the bloody effort with me, then I can't.
I think a lot of time it's that busy life thing, isn't it? And that when that person does pop up on your phone and has to do something, you go, oh yes, I'd love to see you. I don't seem to have seen you for ages. I think I'm guilty of being the second person you're talking. I think not in our friendship, but I think I'm guilty of being the kind of person you're talking about with both of my friends. Debbie, I've got 2 Debbies. And I think I'm guilty of that with them. That when they message me, I go, I'd love to see Debbie. I haven't seen Debbie for ages. But it didn't occur to me to make the first move, and then I'm aware that I've done that, and then I feel bad about that,
But if you feel bad about it, then presumably you make an effort to do it the next time or whatever, or at least you're aware of it, is what I'm saying. I've got a bit of I had a friend, Becky, who was a really good friend. She was a school mum friend, and we were very, very different, but we were fun friends. We used to do really fun things together, and she was always up for doing something different and going out and having a few drinks, or going and doing something a day out, or she was just a really fun friend. And she moved to North Devon, and we've lost touch. Well, we're still on Facebook friends. I mean, I could still ring her, but I haven't seen her since there was COVID as well, and I haven't seen her since before COVID, and I really do miss her. There's a bit of a Becky shaped hole in my life now, really.
That's it. I mean, you and I, when we get together, we always have fun and we always do lots of stuff. But the distance is an issue, isn't it? So and the distance and the busy lives mean that I can't ring you up and say, I'm not doing anything this afternoon. Would you like to blah blah?
Yeah, should we go out charity shopping? It has to be a pre-planned. Yeah, it does. But but that's not always bad, because it means when we do get together, we spend quality time enjoying each other's company rather than it being sort of rushed here and there type of thing. So
and you don't get the chance to get sick of me quite so much when you don't see me very often, which
equally
Tammy can tell you about that. Tammy can tell you about being sick of the sight of me, because Tammy and I go on cruises together, and at the end of a fortnight it's a toss up about which of us wants to chuck the other one overboard most.
Do you know what? After a fortnight I'm sick of Ashley. I can't wait for him to go back to work and get out of my bloody face. Much as I love him.
Yeah, we were saying that.
I hope he's gone. He just came in and waved at me. I hope he can't hear me.
He's ringing his solicitor as we speak.
Yeah, no, he came to borrow my car because his battery's flat. Because despite the fact I said to him yesterday evening, your car door's open, do you want me to go and close it? No, I'll do it in a minute. Guess what? Battery's flat.
Yeah, I left my lights on overnight when we were at Jack's, and I really expected to. So it wasn't overnight, but we'd parked up about 4 o'clock, and then we walked out to go for dinner, and we came back about 10 o'clock, and Jack said your lights are on. I left them on for 6 hours, and I fully expected to have a flat battery, and I didn't. So I was quite proud of my car. I was like, well
that's
done.
Good.
Yeah,
you must have a good battery.
Yeah, I won't have for long if I keep on treating it like that.
No, you won't. Mind you, if you'd driven all the way up to York, it would have been fully charged, wouldn't it? Because you'd have done.
I guess so. I don't really know how these things work, if I'm honest. So I turn the key and I hope the ignition starts, and that's the end of my expertise.
Yeah,
I'm afraid I am one of those women when somebody says, "What type of car you got?" I go, "A blue one."
Oh dear! How many horsepower has it got?
I haven't noticed any horses or hooves or stabling implements or hay.
Probably none at all then.
No horses.
Can we just mention the thing that we don't mention, which is the weather? And oh my God, isn't it lovely that it's improved?
Praise be to any gods that happen to be listening. Thank you for the weather. We are pleased to have it.
Oh, I've got my door open. I'm not cold. I even, don't tell anybody, changed from the winter to the summer duvet yesterday.
Oh, I actually got under the bed and got the bag out that has the summer clothes in this morning.
I thought you were going to say I've got under the bed to go to sleep.
No, that would be odd.
It would be odd.
That would be strange. No, I put the summer wardrobe away and under the bed in a suitcase in a a sucky zippy bag.
Yeah.
And then this morning I was like, I need some summer trousers. So yeah.
Is that why you're wearing a top that I haven't seen before? Because you've got
yes, because this is also summer clothes, and yes, been put away.
Yeah, it's like having new clothes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's one of the benefits of putting it away is when you get out, you go, oh, I've forgotten I had that. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, it's like people say with kids' toys, rotate them so they don't remember that. Oh, you know what I mean.
There was always the worry that I would have gained enough weight over the winter that none of the summer clothes would fit, though. That was a. So I was like, oh, I hope they still fit, but they do. So luckily I was this fat last summer. It was the summer before when I was less fat.
Just think, next summer you might be
twice the size I am.
No,
now.
I was going to say a quarter of the size you are now. No, I don't think you could be a quarter of the size you are now. That would be.
I would be a little underweight if I got down to 5 stone. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
5.5 stone, and I think that would be. I'd have taken things a little too far.
Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal at all.
But I think it's a little unlikely.
The weather is just so nice, isn't it? It's just so.
It really is.
We've been craving it.
We've got a little bit more cloud cover today, so it's not scorchy sunlight, but
yeah, but it's warm.
Still warm. Yeah, still warm. I went out and sat for 20 minutes. We had to abandon ship earlier on when we were recording the podcast because we realised we were both uploading videos at the same time and asking too much of the internet. So we had to abandon and reconvene 20 minutes later. So I spent those 20 minutes on my strong sun lounger. Have I talked to you about my strong sun lounger that I'm so pleased with?
Sturdy sun lounger with special risers. Risers?
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't follow my Instagram, and there's no reason why you should, but if you want to, it's at that Carla Jenkins. Shameless plug. I did put on my Instagram stories last week that you've reached a certain age when you put the risers that are for elderly people's chairs and beds underneath your sun lounger. It's made all the difference. I got stuck on my sun lounger on Monday. That's what happened before I bought these things. I was fine. I've been sitting on it for a week and fine, but Monday I was extra stiff for some reason.
A week's quite a long time. Did you not get hungry?
Sorry?
A week's quite a long time to sit on a deck chair. Did you not get hungry?
No, I hadn't been sitting on it for the week. I had been using it easily for over a week. And I'd been able to get up and down off of it without any trouble. But then on Monday, I must have been extra stiff and seized up. And I went to stand up and realised I couldn't get up.
Oh, God.
My knees weren't strong enough to get me up. And so I tried pulling the garden chair around to use that. And I couldn't get up still. And in the end, I had to call Anthony to come and hoist me off of it. So I was like, right, okay, well, back to risers. It's a sad, sad state of affairs.
Well, whatever gets you through the day.
They were the best 12 quid I spent. I can get on and off my sunbed with ease now.
Excellent. Have I told you about my exciting new haul for reselling of a lady's lifelong collection of stuff?
You told me in brief, but I'm willing to hear the extended LP version.
I'm a bit overwhelmed by it all. My brother gave me a call last week, and his cleaning lady was trying to get rid of all her mother had recently died, and she said to Nick, I'm trying to get rid of all this stuff, that she had so much stuff. And she showed Nick a couple of pictures on her phone of the amount of clothes and shoes and handbags and jewelry she had. And Nick said, my sister might be interested in that. She sells on eBay. So long story short, we went to Bournemouth last week in a transit van. Ashley came, I was going up there anyway, so I was up there. But Ashley came up in a transit van, and we bought all this stuff off this lady, and it filled up the whole transit van, and it's now filled up quite a good portion of my house, and it's a lot. A lot of stuff. It's going to keep me going for a while. Don't let me go to any charity shops or any car boot sales until I've sorted it all out.
Well, if I'm coming down in a few weeks' time, you better pull your finger out.
It's like years worth, not a few weeks worth.
So she was she a hoarder or just an over shopper, or?
she must have been, I think, a bit of both. Obviously, a big over shopper, not like designer label-y stuff, but nice quality. Lots of it's 80s, some 70s. I think a main buying time was the 80s because most of it is that sort of era, which is my favourite fashion era anyway, which is great. And the jewellery, Carla, the jewellery, all costume, but amazing the amount of just she must have had a necklace for every day of for 10 years. It's unbelievable amount of stuff. I don't know how you'd know where what you wanted to wear was. There was one fairly large double bedroom and it was literally stuffed with, it was like a shop stuffed with rails of clothes. You couldn't move round it. Ashley took one look at it and went, we're not going to get all this in one transit van.
So where did you get a transit van from? Did he happen to have one of them about his person?
Tom at work has one, which he lent to Ashley. We know a couple of people with vans. It's quite a handy thing to know.
Yeah, I could do with knowing someone with a van. Since Anthony hasn't got his anymore, it's not quite as...
Oh, has he not got it anymore?
No, the clutch went and it was going to be far too big a job for him to deal with. So,
what's he got now, a car?
He's got a Toyota Yaris. Is a Yaris a Toyota? He's got a Yaris anyway.
Yeah, a small one that is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a little about car. He's quite happy with that.
Isn't that she's going to learn to drive? She talked about it for a while, didn't she?
She does talk about it occasionally, but it's the expense. I think it's £40 an hour now for driving lessons.
It's insane, isn't it?
And I said, I don't mind taking her out around car parks a bit, but I'm not qualified to teach anyone anything because firstly, I've been driving so long that I've probably got all kinds of bad habits that I probably shouldn't instill in a new learner.
Yeah.
And secondly, I don't have the patience to be a teacher. I fully admire anyone who can, but it's not me.
No, me neither. I took William out a bit when he was learning and I didn't find it easy at all.
No.
I seem to remember spending a lot of time hitting the dashboard and shrieking. And on that note, there was a very noisy helicopter going past my open door, so I guess we better call it and call
time to wind it up. We did say we're going to go back to weekly, didn't we? So having attempted fortnightly very briefly, we're going to go back to weekly. So
yes, we are. Apart from the week after next, I'm away, so there won't be one. But
okay, it'll make one of our listeners very happy. So Emma, if you're listening, you'll be pleased to know we're going back to weekly.
Oh, was Emma not?
Other listeners gave a toss, but Emma then sent me a message saying, "Where is this week's podcast?" And I was like, "There isn't."
Yeah, it seems too long in between. A week felt a lot, but then we're going back to weekly.
Yeah,
right. Thank you all for listening. Hope you have a good week.
If anybody has any ideas for topics, that might be helpful.
Yeah, that would be good. You can follow us on Instagram. There is a link below the podcast if you're listening on podcast platforms, and if you're listening on YouTube, you can. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave it in the comments, can't you?
Yes, lovely. Any ideas for topics? That would be great. Thank you. Yes. Just in case we get bored, just because we're already boring, but just in case we get so boring that we just end up sitting and looking at each other, going, "I don't know."
We never seem to run out of stuff to say. Right. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.